Hello! Today's stories come from r/relationships. Oh boy, folks, we have two stories with updates of insidious family drama. It's not entitled Parents, nor that pesky mother-in-law. It's high school drama and people that never let go well into their lives because it followed them into their homes. Story 1 is a doozy. It's older, but recently recovered and reposted. It's titled, Brother's Girlfriend Thinks I Bullied Her in High School. I don't remember her, and her story seems off. But I can't come to Christmas unless I apologize. My brother Jack is dating Jess. I met her in summer, and she said we'd gone to secondary high school together. She seemed upset I didn't remember her, so I apologized, and she said it was fine, and then she walked away. I'm engaged to a guy I went to high school with and still in touch with a friend from school, so I messaged both of them and asked them if they remembered Jess. Neither did, so I figured that Jess just wasn't in my classes, and that's why I couldn't place her. That night, Jack messaged saying I really upset Jess once again. I was like, again? And he says that Jess says I used to bully her. I'm not going to say I was a great person in high school. I had a lot of friends, but I was going through a lot of junk. So I could be nice, but could also be just a raging jerk. I never targeted or tormented anyone, and I truly do not think it crossed into bully territory. But I could be very rude and sarcastic. I was definitely wrong at times, but bully is a bit far in my opinion. Jack said I had to text him an apology so he could show it to Jess. So I sent a generic apology text because I don't know what I actually did, and could only assume I was a jerk to Jess at some point. Jack called me out on it being generic and said I needed to be specific. I told Jack that I didn't remember Jess, so if she wants a specific apology, she needs to tell me what I am apologizing for. Jess says I stole her boyfriend, gave her an eating disorder, and stopped her getting into her dream university. And here is where the story gets sketchy. Because the guy Jess claims to have been dating at the time was a liar who told people we hooked up when we didn't. As for the eating disorder, I was mean, but I would never encourage someone to develop an eating disorder, as I had an eating disorder myself and body dysmorphic disorder, so I was not about to make someone else feel bad about their body when I felt bad about mine. As for the university, Jess says I made her fail an exam, and failing it kept her out of uni. I have literally no idea what she means. I'm also pretty sure that Jess and I went to different sixth forms, and sixth forms are where you do A-levels, which are the ones that get you into uni. So I have no idea how it's possible for me to have messed up her A-levels when we weren't in the same school. But bottom line is that she believes that I am personally responsible for all of this. Jack said that Jess said that where she's at in life now is all down to me bullying her. I still don't remember any of it, and I actually feel like I remember less with every new piece of info she gives me because it just seems off. Maybe I'm in denial and I need to take a hard look in the mirror. But until then, I'm having an issue giving a sincere apology. And without a sincere apology, I'm not allowed to attend Christmas. I haven't seen my relatives in ages. And I'm already in isolation and preparation, and my kids are really excited. So it would suck to not be able to go after all of this. But my dad is siding with Jack and Jess and has said that he wants a calm Christmas. So if I don't deal with the high school drama, I'm not invited. How do I apologize for something I don't remember and resolve this with the least possible drama? Notable comments. Got some friends in common with her from high school? Maybe they can help with the situation, aka clear up her nonsense. The fact your dad wants to deny seeing his grandchildren is pure BS. OP replied, I'm not in contact with many people from high school. Most of my friends were like me, meaning they were really nasty, so I'm only in touch with one of them who grew up and mellowed out. And she doesn't remember Jess either. I married my high school boyfriend and then divorced him. And now I'm engaged to the self-described awkward nerd who also went to my high school, who was not popular or cool. But he says my friends and I weren't that bad, and interestingly, he also does not remember Jess. Comment. Does she have proof of everything she said that you did to her? OP replied, she's not given me proof, and I'm not even sure what proof to ask for. Fiancé dug out our year group picture, and I found her in there. So I'm satisfied that she was in my year at school, but that's all I've got for proof so far. if she did fail a general certificate of secondary education or A level, she should have a certificate with her final grade on it. But I'm not sure how she would prove the eating disorder or the thing about me stealing her man. I did have a boyfriend in high school who I was with on and off, even married and divorced him. And when we were off again, I went on a date with the guy she claims I stole from her, Jimmy. Jimmy asked me to go see a movie with him, and then on the walk to the movie, he groped me, so I left. And then someone at school started a rumor that I had a boom boom job, and Jimmy told people that he got to second base with me, and they were fake. They aren't, and that was all I ever had to do with Jimmy. Typical high school drama. I think Jimmy had a girlfriend, and he was on and off with her the same way I was with my ex. But I'm pretty sure Jimmy's girlfriend was a tall blonde, and Jess is a short brunette. Then again, I barely remember Jess, so it's not completely impossible that she was Jimmy's on and off girlfriend. But I really don't think she was. Comment. You don't seem surprised that your family sided with a stranger to exclude you. What's up with that? OP replied, Family is complicated for a few reasons, and we've had our issues, but I thought things were fixed. Meanwhile, Jack's last girlfriend was Satan in human form, and the breakup was grueling. Not just for Jack, but for all of us who had to help him pick up the pieces. So, I think this time around the family just want to make sure Jack is happy. And Jack won't be happy unless Jess is happy. So I can see why they put Jess over me given our history and Jack's issues. Comment. I think she is crazy and has been plotting a way to get even with you. Why would she date the brother of the person who tormented and sabotaged her life? Tell your dad drama-free from you. You are not the problem here. He can tell them they can be here from this time until, and then you and his grandkids will be there. OP replied, My brother and I have different surnames and always have, so she claims that she didn't know he was my brother until a couple of months into dating. But he also went to our school, so I don't know how she didn't know. So you're to blame for this girl's depression, eating disorder, and her not getting into college? So how much of this is her fault? Yeah, she has to take personal accountability for her own life at some point. I wouldn't apologize for that mess. OP replied, Honestly, I think maybe she's looking for someone to blame. And then she's seen me again and gone from there. As I really do not have any memory of her, but I was kind of a birch tree, so I'm not ruling anything out. But there are some pretty big issues with her logic, in my opinion. Comment. Your entire family is excluding you because of your brother's girlfriend? What the heck is up with them? Look, if you're willing to acquiesce, I'd say, I'm sorry, Jess, I don't remember the incidents you're talking about. I was going through a lot at the time, and if I hurt you, I genuinely apologize. However, I will say that the person you believe I stole from you, I was never with or interested in. But I do recall him lying by saying we hooked up. We did not. Never did, never will. I never had any interest in him, and I'm sorry if his lie about this hurt you, but that was not anything to do with me. For anything else I was directly at fault for, I apologize and I hope we can move past it. And be friends in some capacity because it's important for my brother, and ultimately, one day we might be family. Beyond that, forget her. OP replied, Jack and Jess have apparently been together for most of the last 2 years. They got together sometime in early 2020. I only just met her because it's taken Jack this long to convince Jess I'm not a total jerk. In this time, though, the rest of the family has met Jess and liked her. And Jack's ex crushed him when she dumped him, so they've gotten attached to Jess. I thought Jack and I were close, so it sucks that I didn't even know he was dating Jess to begin with. That example seems like it could work, but even this reads like it might not be specific enough for her. She wants a very specific, very detailed apology explaining exactly how I messed up. I will try your apology and see if it works, but I've never known anyone to be this picky about an apology. Wish me luck. Update 1. So I figured out why I didn't remember Jess. It wasn't Jess. Fiancé and I went through some old boxes. We're in the UK, so we don't have yearbooks, but we had Leavers shirts and this little book. Both had names of our fellow Leavers. He found his shirt and we went through it. Jess was on there, so she did go to our school. But we saw another name, Kate, and it bugged me, but I didn't know why. I then went back to the year photo and almost instantly my brain matched the name Kate to a blonde girl in the photo. My fiancé and I realized that Kate dated Jimmy, and Jimmy is the guy that Jess said I stole from her. I then messaged Jack and explained all of my issues again. Jess going to another school, the notion I gave her an eating disorder, and now the realization that Kate was Jimmy's girlfriend, not Jess. Then said that if Jess can explain this, I'll apologize. And if she can't, then I expect an apology from her instead. A few hours later, we were all on a Zoom call. A teary Jess admitted that she and I didn't interact in school. She was friends with Kate. I was dating my ex-husband at the same time Kate was dating Jimmy. My ex and I were very on again, off again, and after one breakup, Jimmy dumped Kate so he could ask me out. The date went terribly, so Jimmy went crawling back to Kate after. I remembered Kate and Jimmy as being very on and off, like my ex and I were, but turns out that this was the only time they broke up before the final breakup a few years later. Kate started comparing herself to me and developed an eating disorder to match mine. So she blames me for that too. As for the exam, I am still not entirely sure how I screwed that up for her, but Kate and I did go to the same sixth form and shared a class. So we took at least one exam in the same place and at the same time. Jess referenced the eating disorder, and when I took my exams, I was pregnant with my oldest and had severe morning sickness. So my best guess is that my throwing up set off Kate's eating disorder before an exam. And as for why Jess went along with it, other than still being friends with Kate, is that I had a large group of friends in high school who I have since stopped speaking to. And a couple of them picked on Jess a lot. But Jess confirmed that I did not personally do anything to her at any point. Jess met my brother in a support group last year. She told Kate, and it looks like they cooked up this little scheme together. Though it's unclear if she started dating Jack to get to me, or if it was just coincidence. I asked if we could get Kate in the Zoom so I could talk to her directly, and she joined. I did try and get details on how exactly I caused her eating disorder and made her fail her exam, and she got very angry with me, saying that she wasn't going to explain because if she gave details, I would use them to talk my way out of it. I asked why Jess said that I bullied her and not that I bullied her friend Kate, and Kate said I would have denied it either way and referenced me mentally torturing her, saying that now we were even because I had admitted to spending hours racking my brain trying to figure out what I did, just like Kate had back then. I snapped at her when she said that, saying she needed to grow up and stop blaming others for her problems, and Kate, Jess, and Jack all left the Zoom. I told Dad everything, but he hasn't replied yet. I've not heard from Jack, Jess, or Kate since then, but honestly, Kate and Jess sound equally crazy, so I'm guessing that they're feeding into each other's psychologic right now. No clue what Jack is doing either, but he was angry with Jess on the call and he was repeatedly pushing her to tell me everything. So I hope he's on my side here at least. Notable comments. Dude, these gals have some major issues and your brother needs to get far away. Your kids do not need to be around an unstable and vindictive manipulator such as Jess. I would definitely not go to family Christmas if they still are coming, and your dad needs to give a huge apology to you as well for his behavior in supporting this nutcase story. The extended family needs to know too, before someone tries to make you out as the bad guy still somehow. OP replied, yeah, honestly, this just sounds like crazy met crazy, and then they spent a decade encouraging each other. I think if even one of them was more stable, then this would never have happened. I'd already planned to keep my kids away from her, but Jack is another story. He loves Jess, and it took him a lot to leave his last relationship, which was bordering abusive. So I don't know what he'll do here. He was clearly angry with Jess, so I hope he remembers how this felt and uses it to decide if he'll stay. But I hope he gets out, and that he knows I'm here if he needs me. Comment. You somehow believe they cooked up this scheme and aren't just using your brother? Are you mad? Of course he is just being used. OP replied, I know that Jess dating Jack isn't a coincidence, and she knew who he was, who I was, and who I was to Kate before entering the relationship. But as she refused to meet me until more than a year into their relationship, and she stated multiple times on the call that she does love Jack, I hope that whatever happens next is the best route for all parties involved, whether that's Jack and Jess rebuilding some trust, or Jack helping her pack her stuff and leave. Comment. You honestly can't let your dad live this one down. Your family not backing their flesh and blood over some semi-random who is lying? Not okay. OP replied, I'm not dad's flesh and blood, so I can't really play that card to be honest. Follow-up comment. Is Jack your dad's flesh and blood? Is he your stepdad or adoptive parent? Where does your biological parent stand in all of this if they are in the picture? OP replied, Dad is Jack's bio dad. Jack and I share a bio mother who is not involved. My mom cheated on my dad with my bio dad, which all came out when I was about 10. And when they divorced, I had to live with mom and bio dad, and I was abused pretty badly. So when Jack's dad found out, he arranged for me to come live with him, and I've gone no contact with mom and bio dad. Dad is my dad, even if we don't share DNA. Comment. If I was Jack, you could not convince me that Jess got with me to get to you. OP replied. That's how he seems to be responding. I don't think she got with him solely to get to me. I think that she just happened to meet Jack, then told Kate after they started dating, and things escalated from there. Jack and I don't even have the same last name, so it is possible that Jess didn't realize until she told Kate, and then Kate told her. I think if Kate was the one dating Jack, I could believe that she did it solely to get to me. But because it's Jess dating Jack, I think there is an element of coincidence here. Comment. Info. Are you invited back to Christmas? If yes, you shouldn't go, honestly. OP replied, Dad hasn't replied yet, but when he does, I'll know what's going on regarding Christmas. If Jess is still invited, I won't be going. Best of Reddit comments got down to brass tacks. Quoting, he loves Jess, and it took him a lot to leave his last relationship, which was bordering abusive. I know that Jess dating Jack isn't a coincidence, and she knew who he was, who I was, and who I was to Kate before entering the relationship. Took it to her and said, I have terrible news for OP about Jack's current relationship. Pterodactyl said, laugh my butt off. I made you rack your brain about this, so we're even now. Congratulations? Your prize is that you're still in the exact same place as before, except now you've wasted more time, ruined your own relationship, and people who had forgotten you or didn't know you now think you're insane. You sure showed OP. Muad'Dib said, it's worse than that. These two have apparently spent years concocting some strange scheme that fell apart at the first hurdle when OP asked some very basic questions, because none of what they were saying made any sense. If the reason she is with the brother in the first place is because of this scheme, then holy smokes, that's just even worse. Oh my gosh, what a soap opera. Who are these people? The level of dysfunction is crazy. It's unfortunate that Jack and his family don't recognize a very scary pattern developing here in terms of his girlfriend selection. There were definitely points where I thought OP was the crazy one, but then more and more details were shared. There's just so much going on here. Too much, really, to unpack. Let's go to our second story. It's shorter, but very recent. Too on theme to miss, and features a mom with a diamond spine. Story 2 is titled, My Daughter's Bully Married Into Our Family. My daughter was a sophomore when the bullying began. I'm unsure why Ella and her friends began targeting her. They made comments about her body, her nose, everything. My daughter developed an eating disorder and began to rapidly lose weight because of the intense exercises and long fasting periods she forced herself to endure. Ella and her friends showed no mercy and continued to harass my daughter. My daughter began engaging in destructive behaviors and at one point was hospitalized. It took a lot of fighting, but I was able to get the school to punish these girls for my daughter's suffering. When my daughter graduated, I thought Ella would be a person of her past. But her older brother began dating her when my daughter was wrapping up her 3rd year in university. It hurt my daughter so much that her brother would date someone who bullied her so closely to death. There were nights where she would cry herself to sleep wondering why this was going on. It hurt me as a mother to watch this happen. My son ended up marrying Ella. I have allowed this but kept my distance from Ella. I recently hung out with my daughter-in-laws and daughter without inviting Ella. I have 3 other sons, 2 are married. At a recent gathering, one of my daughter-in-laws expressed gratitude because I had given her an opportunity to get out of the house because of stress with the kids. I planned a girls' night out with my daughter and 2 other daughter-in-laws. We kept this secret from Ella. Ella eventually got the full story out of my eldest son and was hurt. She asked me what she had ever done to make me treat her differently from the others. I let her have it. I told her that her treatment of my daughter in their high school years is why I will never view her as a member of this family. I told her that I had already been kind enough to allow her to be near my family, and that she should not push her luck. She left with my son, and he later told me she cried herself to sleep that night. Ella never gave a proper apology to my daughter for the damage she had done. She jokes about their past in the form of dark humor. I fear my son may go no contact, but I will not chase him because he chose this bully over his sister. She hasn't been bullying her anymore, but there were no attempts to make amends. And the comments deliver. Gullible Share said, why did your brother start dating her? Didn't he know the trauma she caused? Snark Tank added, right? The brother is a piece of crap for ever associating with a person in the first place. She ruined his sister's self-esteem and self-image. It's really messed up. Vibes All Vibes added, my sister married my stalker and gave him access to my life. Some siblings really just don't care. It's sick. Cheeky Bit said, she talks about it with dark humor. Isn't that what the victim does to cope, not the one who caused the trauma? Good on you for choosing your daughter over this woman. And if your son goes no contact, it'll hurt, but it's for the best. He chose to marry the woman who nearly bullied your daughter to death knowingly, and that's so gross. If I was his sister, I would never forgive that. Ella can cry herself to sleep all she wants. Sounds like she deserves to cry. Eyed Lady added, the audacity to even ask what she ever did to be treated differently is wild. The outrage! How can OP's son stomach being with such a gross person? It's mind-boggling. And no apology from Ella? What the actual heck? Her complete and utter lack of self-awareness kinda shows she hasn't changed. But I'm sure she'll make a great mom. Huh, OP's son is kind of an idiot. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.